Hello there. Welcome back. Probably welcome back myself, as I've been away on this channel anyway for such a long time, but something monumentous could have arisen, and that is in the form of Maul Shadow Lord trailer and the series, which is coming out in April, I think, or end of April, sometime in April. And I think the placement of this trailer, or it being released at this moment in time, is very interesting, considering the things which have recently transpired. The day which it happened, where the announcement was made, and I had victory celebration, I think, playing all day long, and that scene on repeat with Luke and Force Ghosts and everyone clapping and the Ewoks cheering and C-3PO dancing, and it just felt like something new, something fresh, a breath of fresh air. What of course I'm talking about is the passing on the torch from Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, years and years and years of speculation of her going, and I think a lot of fans, myself included, weren't entirely aligned with the vision that she had for Star Wars, in accordance to what we thought Star Wars was, in accordance to George Lucas and everything we've loved about his Star Wars. So that's a completely another topic, if you want me to make a video about all of that as well, because I find it all thoroughly interesting. Apologies, I haven't done much with this channel, but I'm really looking forward to getting back into a Star Wars series again and having a break and just enjoying it together and just getting back into Star Wars, because for me it's been long overdue. I had a bit of a time period where I've had my longest time not away from Star Wars, because I'm completely obsessed with the Star Wars hot toys and lightsabers and everything, and I mean, I haven't been doing as much Star Wars stuff as I normally do. I've been doing things more on the sidelines for Star Wars and letting Lord of the Rings completely take over, because we all go through our phases. I do anyway, always have, where you go bounce between I've always loved Star Wars. I'll watch Star Wars forever, all the time. Lord of the Rings will keep coming up, and it's on par with Star Wars sometimes, and then that has a little bit of a break. I'll get through all that and special features, back to Star Wars. This is going to be a breath of fresh air, I hope, purely because there's an evolution when it comes to Clone Wars stuff, and hopefully in terms of visuals there's going to be another bump up. It's always very noticeable when there's a Clone Wars style series that comes out, and it just goes next level. So I'm really hoping with more, I don't know how you top the last Bad Batch, I suppose would be that sort of level in terms of quality, but hopefully it does that as well. One thing I'm very, very excited here is return of Sam Witwer, what he did with the Maul character, and how if you think about Darth Maul and the Phantom Menace to what we know from Darth Maul now, the only thing which kind of gets me with this is that we know what happens to Darth Maul. But I'm hoping with the new changeover at Lucasfilm, this is going to have monumentous changes afoot, and I'll tell you just at the end what I think about that, because hopefully this trailer, it will sort of tease what I'm thinking right now. That's just my own little theory I've got cooking up in my head, but I'll tell you that after the end of the reaction. I'm very excited to watch this. Let's begin. Straight on Coruscant.
Times have changed. The galaxy for what
See what I mean? Immediately, the animation, the style, looks like it's been upgraded again.
From a new perspective.
Maul being a herbal tea drinker as well. Interesting. We'll get back onto that.
I invite you to look more closely.
What are we dealing with?
Good question. And I offer you an opportunity.
Looks so good. That's going to be replayed about 100 times.
We have all been made to suffer. We survive.
This is looking really good. Maul looks so good.
Chains can be broken, and empires can be shattered.
That's the music that I need to hear. Okay, so I've replayed that about 3 times now, and I'm just immediately, the visuals on that, I don't know if they've slightly changed the animation somehow, but there's definitely a style to that, and it looks amazing. Maul looks really good. I mean, we're bridging the gap now for when he comes into Rebels. And we know the more that we get in Rebels is kind of like the parallel to Yoda in Empire Strikes Back, like where he sort of tries to recruit Ezra as his apprentice. So this Maul that we've got here, I assume he's going to be really bitter, but very aware with what the Emperor's done and how big the Empire is. And that's what I really think is going to work so well. I think it was an interview that I saw with Sam Witwer, who just speaks so well in interviews and about Darth Maul, and his Star Wars knowledge is really good as well. I think that's very well noted. But one of the things he says is that Maul is like an old knight. He's a knight of the old Sith. Like he's used to things being colourful in the galaxy, whereas the Empire's taken that completely away, and now he's having to come to terms with that. But he's going to have a very different sort of point of view from the Emperor on how the galaxy could look and should look, and I think that power struggle is going to be really awesome. And one thing that I want to note it here is that, do you remember that Clone Wars series or episodes that we didn't get of Maul that was captured by Sidious, but then he escaped with the help of the Mandalorians and he teamed up with Dooku? I think I remember seeing a very early animation for that, and it never got turned into the episodes. But the fact that we have that interaction with Sidious during those events, just one very interesting thought for me is that perhaps Maul and the Emperor might actually have some sort of screen time together, and if that happens, just be incredible. It doesn't need to be a fight or anything, but it's just to have that difference there with two Sith, once former master and apprentice, but no longer, and now it's got Vader, and now the Emperor wants Maul dead and destroyed and got rid of. To see that sort of interaction will come with some sort of full circle there from the Phantom Menace and show how betrayed Maul really was. I mean, we've seen that already, but to hear it from the Emperor would be amazing. Now, I did say I have an interesting theory here, and it depends on how brave perhaps Lucasfilm could actually be here. And would they ever do it? No. Is there a percentage it might happen? Possibly. But I was paying close attention for a Twi'lek in there, as I'm sure that you might have as well. And that would be the story notes from George Lucas for the sequel trilogy. Now, if you know about them, which you probably do, is that Darth Maul was meant to be the antagonist, and then Darth Talon would be his apprentice, and she would be like the main Darth Vader of that sequel trilogy. So the fact that what appears to be perhaps Darth Talon, I don't know much about her, but I know about just the story of what was going to happen in the sequels. But if that was going to happen, and then we're seeing perhaps the birth of her here, and then Maul taking on the apprentice in this series, that is amazing. But then where does that fall in with the current timeline? And would they be brave enough to slightly alter the timeline to then perhaps... This is very far-fetched. For me, that's almost what we got into this mess in the first place, because you saw how creative everyone else was except the people making the films. But perhaps the World Between Worlds, the upcoming Mandalorian movie, I mean, perhaps something ties in where something gets altered, and I would just love so much if Maul's ending, even though it was kind of perfect in Rebels, his ending for the Obi-Wan arc, but perhaps there could be some alteration there, and then I wouldn't even care at this point if we got an animated version of Luke, Han and Leia meeting, but I just want that scene. And I know that's a bit far-fetched, but it just spawns from the idea of seeing perhaps Darth Talon and Darth Maul together, and that's George Lucas's sequel trilogy antagonist there coming into fruition, and building upon that could be very interesting. But the Inquisitors I never really see much of a threat for the Sith, like with Darth Maul, for example. We know how powerful Darth Maul is and how he was easily dispatching them in that two episode thing, or maybe one episode, where they're on the Sith temple in Rebels, and that was just a movie for me. I remember watching that and being mesmerized by that episode. Seeing Maul go up against the Inquisitors, I think it's the Inquisitors that should be very fearful of Darth Maul, and I hope that's somewhat represented in here, because Darth Maul at this point should be quite powerful. The main exciting thing here is, how do you go about making a Darth Maul story? Is this the first story that Disney have made which have actually been about a bad person as the main protagonist, antagonist? I don't know what it would be, but I hope that they don't go about giving him the Boba Fett treatment where it's a cool badass character and then he turns into your local friendly neighborhood gangster. So like, I want growth with Darth Maul, but I want to make sure that it's very in the lines of who Darth Maul is and what he is. And I think with Sam Witwer voicing, he will always have an opinion on Darth Maul, and I hope with Dave Filoni's input, I hope that's perfectly molded and something great has been made from it. I did notice there's some Zabraks in there. I thought perhaps that was a Savage Press painting in the back for one scene, but it was moving, so that's going to be really good, seeing more Zabraks on there. But I think there's a lot to take from that trailer. It looks very good. A lot going on for Lucasfilm right now. If you wanted me to chat more about that, just let me know and I'll be more than happy to make a video and all that and keep up to date with everything at Lucasfilm. So I hope you enjoyed my trailer reaction and I look forward to watching this season together when it comes out. Take care of yourself. Cheers.